Shauna. What's good, everybody? So today I want to talk about a business that you can consider a business or not, but this is something that nobody talks about, but is highly sought after yet rarely discussed. And this is a way to make money from home by being a foster parent or a foster home. Now, if you're wondering like what foster caring is or being a foster parent is, foster caring is a temporary living arrangement for kids who parents who can't no longer take care of them at the time. So now the state has custody of that child, but the state is not an actual individual or being, so they have to like divvy out that responsibility to individual citizens throughout the whole United States. So you could be that person who actually takes in kids that lives with you and take care of them like as if they were your own kid, and the state will pay you money to do such a thing. So before we get into details about that, let me tell you requirements, the basic requirements if you want to do something like this, just to know if you even qualify or eligible to do something like this. So first requirement is that you must be 21 years of age. In most states, there might be other states that let you go as low as 20, but who wants to have teenagers like 18, 19-year-olds taking care of like teens and kids? No. So most likely in all states, but make sure you check your regulations of your state. You have to be at least 21 years of age. You have to be financially stable, as in you can't be like financially struggling, like barely can keep your lights on and think, okay, I'm gonna get this kid so he can start paying that, having that kid can start paying my bills. No. You have to be stable, meaning like you can't be reliant on whatever the money the state is giving you for that child. They're not going to be like that, because in any moment they can take the kid away from you. What would you do, you know? So then you must complete an application with a child placement agency, which is another thing. A child placement agency is basically the states give this child placement agency the kids, and then that agency has like a whole bunch of different foster parents under them. They're like, okay, I have 5 kids, I have 5 parents, I'm gonna give 1 kid to each of these parents, like that. Like you would have to apply with an agency. That's who you get your kids through. So you have to be able to submit and pass a background check. If you're married, you have to have proof of marriage. If you're divorced, you have to have proof of being divorced. You can be a single person. You don't have to be married. You don't have to be divorced. You can be a single person, never been married or divorced. You have to agree to do a home study, and home study is somebody comes out, look at your house, be like, okay, is this a fit space for one of these kids? Do you have enough room for these kids? Because what if you have your own kids? That kid must have their own room. Or that kid, if that kid is sharing a room with another kid, it needs to have their own bed. You feel me? And then you also have to complete some trainings. Now these trainings are free. Whoever your foster parent agency is, they'll do all the trainings with you. It's something you can do with them, right? Now, additional foster care requirements. Like I said, if they come out and look at your house, you gotta have enough space to actually house them. You can't have like a little 1-bedroom apartment. It ain't gonna fly. They have to have their own space, their own bed, all that. Also, you can't have no more than 6 kids in a house. Meaning like if you have 6 kids of your own, you cannot take in a foster kid. They just won't allow it, because in their mindset, you're not able to keep track of all of these kids and give all of these kids the undivided attention that they need. So even if you have no kids and you're like, okay, I want at least 6 foster kids, they'll allow that. You just can't go past that. But again, make sure you check your state. Not all the rules apply to all the same states the same way, right? Also, if you have any pets in your house, you need to make sure all your pets are vaccinated. You are allowed pets, just make sure they're vaccinated and not aggressive and risk harming the child. Also, you need to get and keep up to date a CPR and first aid certification, which yeah, I have one. I already told you about the training. Typically it's around 20 hours worth of training. And then finally, like, okay, with that in mind, you qualify, cool. So what kind of stuff would I be doing? The same thing you would do if you had your own child. That's what you'd be doing with a foster kid. Taking it to school, making sure its hygiene is good, cleaning it, feeding it, loving it. Yes, loving it, because it is a child and children require love to grow up healthy and happy. So that's basically what you need to do. Now, I know you're like, okay, if I did take a kid, I need you to understand that like foster kids, not all of them are like good, sweet little angels, because a lot of them come from abuse backgrounds, whether there was physical abuse, mental abuse. You gotta understand that you won't always get a kid that is easy, and you gotta understand that. Like, you have to be able to work through their pain in order to love them more. They require more love, more attention, more affection. You feel me? So now, payment system, you're like, okay, if I did decide to do this, how would I get paid? Like, what kind of money are we looking like? Okay, there's two type of kids that you're typically gonna encounter, and you can choose this kid style, right? There's the normal average kid that typically, whether they have behavioral problems or they may not have behavioral problems, they're a normal average little child or kid or teenager, right? And the state pays typically lower for them, but it varies. Like, say the state decides, I'm giving you an example. These are basic general numbers. The reason why I know these numbers is because I have multiple family members in my family that actually are child care providers or foster parents. So I know, I've seen their bank, well, I've seen their deposits and stuff like that, but here we go. So I'm not giving you exact numbers, I'm just giving you general numbers. I don't want to tell people business like that. But say for a regular child, the state might pay an agency, a child placement agency, not you, but the child placement agency, say $200 a day for that child. Now they pay them monthly, they sent them a monthly check, but this is how much they're paying for each individual day for that one child. So say if they're paying an average child, the state pays you child placement agency $200 a day to place that child, to have that child, you know, be in foster care, foster parenting services, right? The child placement agency then might have an agreement with you saying, okay, for every child, for this child, I'll give you half of what the state has paid me. So if the state paid her $200 or paid him $200 a day for that child, they say, we'll give you $100 for actually having the child in your home, you taking care of the child, you taking to school, buying him clothes, buying her shoes, because you have to be buying that stuff for the child. This is a part of you taking care of the child, buying the kids school supplies, all that stuff, right? So they'll say, we'll pay you $100 a day for taking care of that child, for a regular average child, which is about what, $3,000 a month. Cool. And then you might be able to get more than one kid. So say if you had 3 kids from the state, that's $9,000 you'd be making a month. Even better, this is tax-free money. You do not have to pay taxes on this money. You don't have to pay taxes for money the government is giving you to take care of kids. They consider this as like a reimbursement, as in you've been taking care of this kid, now we're reimbursing you the money you've spent towards taking care of this kid. Now, like I said, that's a general average idea of like an average child for foster care. Now, there's another category called medical needs fragile. These are kids are typically with physical or mental medical needs or specialties, because either they're mentally disabled or they're physically disabled in some kind of way. The state pays significantly higher for these children. So these children, say the state says child placement agency will pay you $900. Yes, these are real figures. $900 a day to take care of this one child. This child could be, I don't know, like paralyzed from the waist down, and required to be stuck to a bed, so they need nursing and care and all that stuff. The state typically provides nurses if they're that serious off. Or the child may be mentally disabled, so then, you know, on that end, so they know that those children require more attention than an average child, so they're paying you for that. So they might be like, child placement agency will pay you $900 a day for this child. The child placement agency is like, okay, I have the perfect parent that I know I can give this child to, who would take care of this child the way they need to be taken care of. So say, like I said, $900. So the child placement agency, like, since the state is paying me $900 a day, I'm going to give you $450 a day, and that's around $13,500 a month. Now you're like, there's no way they're getting that. No, they're getting that kind of money each and every month. 13, 50, tens of thousands of dollars, and then you can have more than one child, so it can really add up. Now, before you're like, oh golly, let me look into this right now. You getting that kind of money to take care of a kid? Like I have kids already. That'd be easier. Just add one more mouth to feed. That's cool. One more body in the house. That's fine. Now, before you like go into it and like, okay, I'm ready to get started, I need to make a disclaimer, right? I don't want you to like look at this and be like, this is just for the money at all. Because although I find kids super duper annoying, like super duper annoying, because for some reason they just love to cling to me, I am super duper uber duper protective of children. So if you ain't about actually loving and taking care of a kid, do not bother looking into this. I am so serious. I loathe the idea of a child being abused or neglected. So if you like, ooh, money, 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 nah. It gotta be the kid first, the child's needs first. Then you're like, okay, the cool benefit is making some money on the side. You feel me? Because the state wants these kids to be able to live as normal of a life as possible. Because again, these kids come from really broken homes. And the reason why I'm making this video is not because I'm trying to give you another way to make money, but also because what people don't talk about is that this is a serious problem right now. It's been for a long time that there's so many kids that don't have homes, to the point where they're being crammed in group homes, to the point where they're sharing beds, they're sleeping on floors, they sleeping at the child care agency's bed, like offices, because there's not enough space for all these children. And I'm hoping like making this video also open up homes for these kids. Like, these kids need homes, and it's beneficial both for you and for them. Now, I don't want, also, you gotta understand, like, you might get a kid that you actually fall in love with, and you gotta understand these kids aren't promised to you, right? The state can come in at any moment and decide to take them away. Because like I said, this is a temporary living facility. It's not this, you can have the kid for 6 weeks, you can have them for 6 months, you can end up having them for 6 years. It just depends on you, on the state, whether or not you're capable of continuing to take care of them, whether or not the families come back into the picture and says, hey, I want my kid back, I've cleaned up my life, yada yada, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So again, I also mentioned the whole child placement agency. Now that part, oh my gosh, they make so much money. So much money. Now, if you thought about maybe becoming a child placement agency, the thing about that, it's complicated. I got a family member right now trying to go through the process. It is a complicated process and it takes a lot of work, but that money is up there. So maybe in the future I'll make another video about that if you guys want. But for right now, I'm just keeping it simple. With the child placement agency, you're doing a lot less hands-on work with the kids. You're not directly involved with the kids. The state gives you the kids, and then you have families under you where you're like, okay, I want this kid to go to this home because I think that parent or that couple will take care of that kid real nicely. I have this kid over here I think goes to that family. And then you as the agency, you're just calling and checking on, hey, how's the kid doing? Is they doing good? Is there any updates I need to know? Like, you're just over the parents, but the parents are over the kids. You understand? But as a foster care agency, you yourself aren't allowed to be a foster parent. So you can't double dip, or you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be like, I want to be a foster care agency and also have a home for kids, and then when the government gives me kids, I'm gonna just put them in my own. You can't do that. Just if you're thinking about that and your questions about that, no. So I'm gonna have some information down below for, I don't know, like 10 states, different states where if you wanna look at more about being a foster parent. But make sure you check your state. I didn't feel like looking up all the foster care government sites. So I did about 10 states: Texas, California, Washington, Colorado, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Arizona. If I didn't name it, just go look up yours, foster care parentingourstate.gov, something like that. But yeah, thank you for watching. The reason why I will never go into foster parenting is because, for two reasons. One is because I'm not like at a place where I'm like, I want to take care of another human being. And secondly, it's like, because I mean, kids, I have a little nephew and he irks my nerves, right? But I love him to death, so can't be helped. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will check you guys out later. But thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.